Hey guys, I'm Johnny,
I'm Jason.
and this is Hip World. Hey guys, I'm Johnny,
I'm Jason.
and we are sitting in the Hip World Boat, and we're going to take you guys on a little adventure to share with you what we went through to get here. So we decided we would take and use the boat as a studio for a while because, of course, we can't put it on the water until it gets warm enough. We don't have to worry about it freezing, and we have to take it down and get everything ready. So it works out to be a perfect place, I think, to make a studio. So that's what we're going to try and do. So Jason's right here, and I'm right here, and we're just going to share with you guys what our trip to Maine was like because it was quite a crazy adventure, wouldn't you say, my brother?
Which part do you want to?
Well, I guess we got to start with the beginning. I mean, wouldn't that be? So we took off. We tell them how we even got started on that on the boat adventure, or what do you think? Want to hear the backstory of why we even ended up there?
Do you?
I bet they do. Okay, so get this. Everybody kept asking us why. Why are you going to get a boat in Maine? Why are you going to get a boat in Maine? And yeah, if you had asked us straight from the get go, hey, you want to go get a boat in Maine? The answer to that would have been absolutely no. No, I'm not going to drive to Maine to go get a boat. I don't see a boat as something I would want. I don't see it as anything we need. Right?
Now we got a boat.
Yeah, now we got a boat, and I'm super glad. So I love the boat. I was on Marketplace looking for parts for the S10 because when we took the trip to Austin, the S10 came off the back of the trailer in a random spot. Unfortunately, it didn't hurt anything but itself and a couple things inside, my monitors and stuff. But everything made it. And the S10's back home and it's running great, but its body's beat up a little bit. So I was trying to get some parts for it. Yeah, she got bent. and so I'm online looking for parts for the S10, and I come across an ad for a boat, um, pretty similar to this one, smaller, but pretty similar to it, about 5 miles from my property in Oklahoma. I'm like, well, we got land in Oklahoma, and we got a boat like 5 miles from the property. Let's go get a boat. So we go over and we get this boat. We check it out, and the deal's made. And sure enough, for about 15 minutes, we are on this boat, and it's our boat, and it's pretty close to this boat. So there's a kitchen and a dining room and a front bedroom and a back bedroom and a bathroom all inside the boat, plus the area to drive the boat outside the boat and an area to hang out and an area to swim and everything. And it's in it. It's a cabin cruiser, right? Bayliner, big cabin cruiser. So for 15 minutes, it's ours. We're going through it. We're checking out the paperwork. We're moving stuff around in our boat while they go get the skid loader so we can load the boat up. And then the guy comes back with skid loader and he doesn't have it. And he's got like a bummed look on his face. And for those of you who's heard this story, you know we were pretty tore up about it. And for those of you who don't, well, sometimes you just never know where things are. So he tells us, hey man, the people who have the skid loader know the people who used to own the property, and they're the people who used to own the boat. And it's a pretty long story, but it boils down to we got to give them 2 more days to get the boat. So I was like, all right, if that's the case, then we'll give you the 2 days and we'll see what's up. So then we get the trailer ready, we get everybody ready, and we get ready to go down, and we get a message that says, hey, we got to give the guy 2 more days. I'm like, no doggone it. Again, I would think under any technicality, I don't got to give nobody nothing. You already made a deal with me. We already shook hands, and you went to go get the boat or the stuff to load it. You wouldn't have went to do that to even talk to those people had we not already made a deal.
By then, we already had the trailer out.
Yeah, we had the trailer and everything. Mm-hmm. And so he tells us got to give him 2 more days. We're like, all right. So we end up waiting again 2 more days, anticipation of this boat. You know, so it's now it's built up Is this boat yours? It isn't yours. It is yours. It isn't yours. It is yours. It isn't yours. What is it going to be? Come on. Just so the end of the week comes. It's Friday. We've given all the time we're supposed to. We get everybody loaded up. We get the trailer up. We get ready to leave, and we get ready to head down because it's a couple hours down to where the boat is at the time. And so we get ready to go down there, and we get a message that the boat's gone. They got it, and it's no longer our boat. So all this weeks long anticipation and everything else, and us standing in the boat, and all of that means nothing.
Boat sucked anyway.
Boat's gone. Yeah, the boat was not in this shape. It was sitting on the ground sideways. It had some busted, cracked windows. It was not in as good a shape as this.
Smaller.
It was smaller. The engine was not completely didn't look completely sound. Lots of stuff, just lots of stuff. So, and I think it was even missing water tanks and stuff in it. So, anyway, we we were discouraged a little bit, and we're just kind of like, man, that's a kick in the shorts, where we weren't even thinking about getting a boat, and then you take it down and you tell us it is our boat, and then and then you yank it away from us, and then you tease, and then yank it away, and then tease, and then yank it away, So now I'm interested in a boat. And then another one comes up while I'm still looking on Marketplace, and it turns out to be, supposed to be about the same thing, but it's in Georgia. Well, we got family and friends around that area, so, I travel anyway, so
Georgia.
why not make a trip to Georgia if it means a free boat? It's supposed to be free. So I'm talking to the people, and through the discussion, I find out, hold on, that boat is complete salvage. It's been a wreck. It's been exposed. It is junk. It's been taken apart. It's already got the motor out. It's already got all the stuff that's worth anything stripped out of it. It's junk. I'm like, I'm not going to Georgia for that. But it did make the idea of driving to the East Coast seem a lot more obtainable, a lot more doable. So now I'm interested in a boat, and I'm willing to go to the East Coast to get it. Wasn't going to do that before.
Nope.
Now you show me this boat in Maine. And Henry Eustis III, he had a boat in Maine. This beautiful boat that we're in right now is now officially our boat, HWP World Boat. He had this beautiful boat sitting there on his property in Maine, and he wanted to work a deal to see if he was interested in someone working a deal, and I hit him up and said, hey, would you be interested in trading my motorcycle for it? And sure enough, he said yeah. So he's like, I think you're a little crazy though. I mean, aren't you in Missouri? And I'm in Maine, and like, can't really go any further northeast than this and stay in the country. Couple towns, couple cities maybe, but that's it. And I don't know. I'm pretty dedicated if I'm dedicated, If it's something I want, it's what I'm supposed to do. And I just felt like this is something we've been led to do. I've been trained now and enticed in it. I've been driving the trailer around and working on the trailer and all this other stuff. So I set it up with him, and we set a date for a month out for us to get everything ready and to head out in our little bus all the way to Maine. And I'm here to tell you, I think everybody thought we were completely nuts. Henry thought we were nuts. My family and friends thought we were nuts. And maybe we are a little bit, or a lot bit. And the month goes by. We find out that the trailer we've got is only made for a 23-foot boat. And this is quite obviously bigger than a 23-foot boat. And so we make some modifications, and we stretch the trailer out thanks to my buddy Kim McWilliams and my buddy Chris Johnson. He's been helping, and they've been just unspeakable amount of help. Like, it couldn't be done without the help that they've given. That's just the God's honest truth. The reason and abilities and all of it that we were able to pull off what we were able to do, it required their help, and the idea that they gave it and gave in such a manner is pretty awesome. Ken's what helped us get the bus running to begin with, way back. So he's helped us with Starla from the word go. And so to get ready so that we could take this out there and modify a trailer, stretch it 4 feet, rewire it, and put new lights, and make sure the brakes work, and put everything and make sure she's safe to go. And get her ready, and next thing you know, we're off on our little trip to Maine, right? So pretty cool. And I got to thank Jason personally, just because, again, not too many people are going to trust you to just hop in and say, hey, man, you want to take a trip to Maine?
Of
I
course they
mean, at
do.
any point along the way, something crazy could happen and it could be next to catastrophic, and who knows? And, you just never know.
Was
But I
that
mean,
close?
we'll get to stop and see Niagara Falls on the way, and
That was it.
you'll probably have to help me do a lot of work on the bus. And we were supposed to do a lot more, but it turned out, with the stretching of the trailer all at the last moment, and so then we had to just basically almost hoof it to get there. Then we got there, and we pull in, and we've got some videos of that and some pictures, and I'll show you guys some of that stuff, and we'll edit together, and we're going to make a couple episodes about it, so this is just kind of giving you the overview. But we get there, and we unload the motorcycle. We meet Henry first, and he turns out to be just cool as all can be, man. It was pretty cool, righteous guy, man. He does some really cool stuff, and we'll tell you more about him in depth on the way too. But we meet him, we show him the bike, he shows us the boat, and we go down and we unload the bike. And long story short, in the middle of that,
Panic attack, man. Smooth fucking panic attack.
yeah, full blown panic attack. Like I couldn't even untie knots on the bike. Finally, just settled down, and I knew we had to get the bike off of there, so I got the bike off of there, and I mean that wasn't really hard at all. We had kind of a system for that, so we get the bike down, and then it's just like, let's see what we can do. And we go to getting everything ready, and we back the trailer up under the edge of the nose of it, and that's when, for the first time, the panic that had just appeared went away. And I knew we were going to be able to get the boat down onto the trailer and be good to go. So we spent the next few hours, turned out, 3 hours? They said we had the boat pretty well down on the trailer. And if we had known that the little mast on the trailer was flexible, we wouldn't have spent the next hour and a half picking the boat up and moving it just barely to get that mast back in line. We would have just knocked the mast back in line and put it in place like it was supposed to, and what we had to do later. So we learned. But anyway, so basically in 3 hours we had it loaded up, and we were ready to go. So we spent the rest of the night in the boat, or in the bus. We got up the next day. We finished out a bunch of the little chores needed, got it all fixed and lined out. Took it on a little test drive, and made sure everything was okay. Got back and said our goodbyes and started to head out. And that's when the next panic attack happened. The idea that we had to drive this big, beautiful boat all the way back from Maine, and at first, being in the mountains and trying to figure out how to drive on these back roads, which are not as wide as a highway, with this big boat, with all these cars behind us, with all the curves and all the snow and all the ice. And we thought we might be coming home at 35 or 40 mile an hour the whole trip, under duress, under stress, just going
Stopping every
on
15
now.
miles.
Yeah, stopping every 15 miles just to recuperate from the stress of that 15 miles.
And then bam! All the way through New York, Massachusetts, all go. Fuck them states. Right
Yeah.
through them all.
Yeah, we did really. There was a storm coming, so we knew we had to get out of there. So once we got up to Augusta, wasn't it? Augusta, Maine? I think so. We were able to hop on the highway off on the interstate. And the moment we hit the interstate, we knew we were good. It was just, from then on, we knew we were good. The bus handled it so well that from that point on, it was like, hey, I might pull a hill at 35 if it's a super, super, super steep hill, but I'm going to pull it, and I'm going to pull it with that boat behind me, and I don't care. So watch out. Here we go. And she did it through the Adirondacks, right? Through the Appalachians, all the way back home, through a snowstorm, through the Ozark Mountains, and home. Although it did take 5 days on the road, wasn't it? Something like that. On the way home.
Yeah, something.
Well, but 2 days were spent in a snowstorm. So we got snowed in PA. We got footage of that for you guys. We spent a couple days. That was much needed recovery. Like Jason said, though, when we left, we ended up having to drive all the way across Massachusetts, New Hampshire.
I really knew.
Was it? What was that?
New Hampshire, we
Just barely cut the corner of, and then New York, and then we come into New York, and then have to go all the way back up across to the far corner of New York, and then we got to see Niagara Falls, which was cool. At least we got to see something because again, the trip got turned into it was supposed to have been a drive 6 hours and hang out for the night, drive 6 hours, hang out for the night, drive 6 hours, hang out for the night, not drive 36 hours straight back to Niagara Falls because that's how long it took us to get from Rockland, Maine to Niagara Falls. And by the time we got there, I was done for. Thank Jason for helping me and putting up with me and keeping me. And we drove into Niagara and saw Niagara Falls with this boat on the back of that trailer on the bus. Just insane.
They wouldn't let me go over Niagara Falls in the boat.
No, I wouldn't let him go over Niagara Falls in the boat. But so we got footage of that, and we'll share that in a couple more episodes and stuff. And then we basically after that, we got in the snowstorm. We spent a couple days, and then we got back on the road. We headed home, mostly uneventful, except for some trailer hitch problems.
Fear. And wheel, straight fear.
Oh, the wheel. Yeah, so we left PA and everything was great, and then a few hours
barely made it into Ohio.
And the right front wheel on the bus all but came off. And I mean, I got pictures of that too, and we'll show you in the episode all about it. We'll get into more detail. And we spent a day, only though, just that day, most of that day, fixing it.
Oh, we mainly had to wait on shit.
Waiting on stuff and fixing it, and I got it fixed. I got it fixed and welded and all of that, and we took off. And yes, again, more details on that later.
And more fear.
Yeah, but then we took off and everything was okay for quite a while. The hitch on the trailer broke loose, but inside the bus, which was not a huge deal. It stays perfectly locked in place. It's just it also rotates downward, so it's not a good deal either. Not safe, no. And so we fixed that. We had to do 2 attempts, and then we put some big old happy bolts through there, and that problem's solved. Should be permanent. Should never be an issue again. And then since that part couldn't give, we made it through St. Louis, and we were headed down a big old hill, and some of those bridges and road transitions made the Dukes of Hazzard look like, child's play. And so the poor little bus and the boat are traveling down the highway and just kind of Dukes of Hazzard off this bridge because at 55, maybe 60, because we're headed down this big old thing. And on the second little bounce, she set the trailer right on the ground and snapped the tongue right in half. Fortunately, it was still kind of attached, but on the highway. So we managed to get pulled over to the shoulder on this big, huge, steep incline. And I know that looks steep, but I promise you it was that steep. It was insane. We had to chalk all the wheels because, if we had to cut the trailer loose at a certain point, and we couldn't have it just take off rolling. We couldn't have the bus take off rolling. We couldn't. So we got that. It took about, when you say 4.5, 5 hours?
Man, it seemed like it took all fucking night.
It took a long time.
That's what it seemed like.
To get it fixed enough, I had to cut the metal. I had to drill holes. We had to stop and wait for the drills to charge. Oh, word of warning, always take a corded drill with you when you're on something like this. We had a generator. We had everything. We didn't have a corded drill, so we were stuck waiting for these cordless drills to charge just enough to go. And no, it was horrible. It was horrible. Because we were drilling through hard steel metal, But anyway, adamantium, that's right, man. But anyway, we got it and we bolted it together, and we managed to take off and get about a mile and a half, but at least got us to a slightly safer spot on the shoulder of the highway because we didn't make it far enough to even make an exit. We got there, and I managed to come up with another kind of fix, and we'll go into detail about that later. And it got us about 15 miles down the road, stopping at a couple different places where we were told we could not stay, or we'd be basically ran out of town by the police. Like, even the people could not allow us to stay. The police would come and harass us and run us out of town. They didn't have any propane. which was our source of heat. And since we spent that much time fixing things and everything, we really needed propane. So we ended up in a night camping cold in the bus.
In a fire station.
Yep.
Or at a fire station.
At an auxiliary fire station. And again, more details there. And then a rescue from a super cool guy named Joe. I met a cool guy named Shane, and the cool people at the convenience store were awesome. And after Joe came and rescued us and welded it all back, and we got a bunch of stuff about that, and went with us, and we had to pay him and everything, and he just did great. We basically had a pretty uneventful trip home. Yeah, the rest of that from St. Louis to home. And we've been sitting here for a couple days just unwinding because it was a super long trip and there was a lot of hectic stuff that we're not giving you the details on. And
not a whole lot of sleep,
yeah, not a whole lot of sleep, a lot of work. And anyway, but it worked out because right now we are sitting here inside the HWP World Boat, and Jason's sitting on one side of the table and I'm sitting on the other. You can see kind of a bunk behind him, and there's a kitchen over here beside us and a bathroom, and behind me is a whole nother bedroom, and that's what's up. So that's pretty well.
In here.
Yeah,
that's all kinds of beer.
Oh yeah, you know, we don't even drink. But anyway, that's pretty well the short of it, and we'll give you guys some details and some episodes over the next week or so. We can't take too long because, of course, we're gonna be doing more stuff. But we are still alive. We did make it, and we have one epic story to tell. And as you guys get more details, you're just gonna be like, "Oh my God!" So many people like, I can't believe you pulled that off, and can't really believe it either. I don't know about that, but I guess maybe he sure puts up a lot from me, but okay. I pulled us out of every situation.
There's a reverse side of that too.
Yeah.
Put up with me too.
Yeah, and I got us out of every situation that it got us in, and I think we both said the same thing. There was just an overwhelming, comforting feeling that stayed the whole time, even in the worst cases, that we were going to get through it. We were fine. We were going to make it. It was just, we had to just overcome the obstacle. And that's all it was saying each time. There's an obstacle here. Are you willing to overcome it? Or are you going to try and throw in the towel? And each time we were like, well, no.
The last one was
that was hard. That was hard. The snapped frame was an adamant stop. What are you going to do? Yeah. You must get help out on the road.
It was difficult. It happened.
It is difficult.
Joe!
And Joe's a total savior and an example of that there's good people in the world, because he helped us and spent hours doing it and charged us a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what could have been charged. And we needed him. He was our whole lifeline. I mean, we were in a hard way stuck at that point without his help. So. All right, guys. Well, I think that's enough for now, and we'll give you guys a full rundown later on. So I'm Johnny, and we're here in the HWP Boat, and
I'm Johnson. Jason.
And we're out.